we fix a drum roll?
Please give Erik a big hand.
Hello. Very confident. Establishing rapport. Okay. Hi. It's correct. My name is Erik, and I am an inventor. I confess. Today, I'm going to talk and play with you about invention literacy. Have any of you heard about this concept? Except the name of today's talk? No? No, it's not that common yet, because this was invented by a friend of mine called Jay Silver. Some of you might know this name. He's an MIT alumni, but he is more known as the inventor of the glorious banana piano. Have you seen that? Do you want to see it? Yes. First participation thing here. Let's go over. And now we're taking today's first risk. We're going to switch the sound from one computer to another. Everybody knows that these things rarely fail. So I'm very confident that this is going to work. But, as we'll see later, it's okay if it doesn't. Let's try. You see some sample bananas? This is a less intelligent banana. It has all the basic features of banana. You name some?
Yellow.
Protein, yellow, yes. Radioactive, lots of cool stuff. Anyway, they also conduct electricity. So now the banana piano senses electricity. Like so, if I'm running a circuit through my body, let's see. Thank you very much. And thank you, Jay, for this brilliant little word or sentence. I don't know what to call it yet, so I'm prototyping that. Concept is something that's bubbling in my head. His very short and wonderful definition of invention literacy is this: the ability to read and write human-made stuff, from toasters to apps. Okay. So this is the new literacy. The traditional literacy is reading and writing, and this is reading and writing things. There's this, I'm going to sneak into this little thing. You know, literacy has this thing, you call it publish or perish. You recognize this? The new publish or perish for the age of invention literacy is demo or die. So today, there's a lot of demos going on, and collective demos at the end. So anyway, this idea of invention literacy really resonated with me. I was super happy. This is something that I've been doing for a while, I think. It put a context. So sometimes your friends can put your work into context. And I was like, this is what it's about. So today, I will try to present in some kind of order this jumble, this ongoing research project on how we can spread invention literacy. So, more important than maybe math or code separately, invention literacy can be the thing where we tie everything together and start deconstructing things, but more important than anything else, realize that the world is not fixed and that I or you have the power to change it. So that's what it's about. Yes, yes, yay! Today's first yay. So, how do we get about it? My theory is that we can learn this just like we learned how to walk or talk. So we do really, really bad stuff in the beginning. We crawl around, but we need to get started in doing it. Oh yeah, that's the first thing. That was what I was talking about now. First failure, but then hammering it down. That's the terminology, invention literacy. But then learning to walk and talk. Get ridiculous. Do ridiculous stuff. Your first attempts at walking were shit. Like, I saw my design teacher's kid invented a new way of walking because the design teacher's kid needed to have a pen in the hand all the time. So the first not crawling was like this, getting forward and then drawing. And I love that. But with invention, this is also incredibly nice to see. So I'll just show some ridiculous inventions that I'm doing now just to show how humor and a sense of humor can put things into perspective so you relax a little bit about what you're going about in your creative process. So I'd like to start by showing, an incredibly shitty video. So this is a prototype of our new toilet roll paper dispenser robot, ToiletBot 0.5. It has these amazing features, which is there's a pedal, so you don't have to touch the paper with your hands until you take the paper, which is obviously brilliant. So I touch here and it gives me one sheet of paper. I can tear this off easily. Oops. Then also you can make faces here. So now he's angry, sad, happy, a little bit too happy, and then he wishes our friend here a happy birthday because it's his birthday. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. So programmed to dispense one sheet of paper. As you can see, it's still perfectly on one sheet extra there. Brilliant. And we chose to freeze frame on a very flattering still that we use in all media from now on. So the ridiculous part here, I'd like to show, like that was one example, but I have another ridiculous project with me because, as we said, you know, Simone Giertz, the queen of shitty robots, humor is incredibly powerful. And that's actually something, for example, girls have been taught to be a little bit good girls and not have humor, which has stopped some of their creativity. There's a research paper out on that right now. So we're trying to just have more fun with stuff in the beginning. And fuzzy goals make for much more interesting, weird, accidental successes and failures. So does anybody want me to demo this item? Demo or die. This is Afraid of the Dark Pig. We're turning him alive. Oh, you see how calm he is. It. You see? This is a 4-second sine wave. And this is when we had this in the classroom exercise. How often do you breathe? What's your calm breath? So they had to start doing research on how often do I actually inhale, exhale when I'm calm. So this is a calm pig. And then we go into an area that's darker. He's afraid. Afraid of the dark pig. This is an example of a project that accidentally came up. It's called empathy robots, where we gain feelings that these objects are feeling stuff. But we obviously see that there is not much inside the robot. This is basically just a frame. But I bet if I leave this little guy long enough, somebody will say, please put him into the light. But I will not wait for that now. We'll just take it up. So this guy has one light sensor that knows how bright it is, and one little motor. And there's nothing more to it, so it's an incredibly little simple project. He can stand here and be calm in the bright light with me. And so the thing is, we're a little bit afraid of starting to invent. So how would you tweak this? One thing that we do is remixes. So for example, if we would do this as an exercise where we want all of you to make Afraid of the Dark Pig, and somebody messes something up, and all of a sudden the program is inverted. So imagine that it's shaking when it's light out. Something else happens. What is happening? That failure is very interesting. And that's something that I want to go through now on the next little stage here. The remix of the objects that give you your first little invention of something unique is the observation of your object. So first, it's about how we approach our things, the objects, our failures, our little constructions. So one of my key findings in building this power of invention literacy is being able to deconstruct, for example, a common object. So here is a very common object. Anybody knows what this is? An umbrella. Yes, we go up and down. It has all the cool features of umbrella. It doesn't cover from the rain, but it folds up and down. And for me, as a mechanical engineer, this is the most amazing part of the umbrella. But then we imagine, to become unique, your first step in making something unique can be your first failure. So in this case, if just by cutting a straw a little bit weird makes something strange happen. So imagine that we have 30 students and everybody's making something, or 30 people. Somebody cut one of the straws a little bit different. Like that. I just changed one of the straws. And then we do this little exercise again. You see, oh no. This umbrella, oh no, I failed. And then you get really low grade. But if you go to the teacher like this, and this is where the power of observation comes in. Huh? Oh yeah, so you're out in the windy, rainy day and you're like, I need to see. Forward. All of a sudden, you turn this failure into a feature. With this expression, everybody knows it's not a bug, it's a feature. Sometimes it turns into a feature. But this is wonderful. And I'll show the same with code. So we're talking about, I'm not going to go in deep in what we're doing. I want to just stumble across these little things that have happened. And I'd like to show the slightly intelligent umbrella. Because we give access to these prototyping systems so they can actually start inventing weird stuff. I don't want to go into much detail, but here is it was supposed to be an umbrella that folded itself up automatically. Oh, it's actually bright enough there. Ooh. So it's like this, and when it's rainy, it folds up. But right now it's actually sensing light. So it's brighter than before. Let's go back here. What? We actually made the sun here. It was today's best happy accident. Where we realized that all of a sudden, if I put it in here, it folds up automatically. But now, because I'm on stage, there's some new lights that's been introduced. But this, you notice what's wrong? It's folding up when the sun is out. So, power of observation. Exactly, I heard it. Somebody's already on this channel. It's a parasol. So once again, when you've mixed up the code, look at the observation, for example, or look at your structure. What could this be before you try to fix it? So that's the first step, and getting used to that. That is the normal. It's okay. It gives us more information if we do a couple of failures. So in the beginning, just let's sketch it through. And that is really, really, really nice. Anybody wants to try this? Put it down. So 2 examples of the observation thingy. And the entire thing here that we've been trying to build up on invention literacy is like this little process of building something, testing it a little bit, observing it, what worked, what didn't. And then you think. Something we don't learn that much is learning how to think or how to actually go through what actually happened. And that's something we're trying to, I'm actually learning myself. And I gave a talk at International Thinking Conference. International Conference on Thinking, and I realized I'm only building with my hands. I have really tactile thinking. What am I going to do on stage? And I was talking together with De Bono on lateral thinking. It's super weird. But I realized that it's actually about thinking, the entire thing that I'm doing here, this process of, So we try to just, that's my word right now for thinking. It's more the that's in between your first construction, your next. So that's a really good way of doing this stuff. And all of these projects together are aimed at building something that we call creative confidence. Because that's the biggest problem we have is, well, you've built all these fancy things, but I can't do it. And that's the first thing. A lot of people have this spontaneous reaction. Like a little bit adverse to try this out, and especially to show your failures or like shitty stuff. I'm so used to being mediocre that I'm completely natural in that mode. Which is a feature, it's not a bug. So I love being mediocre on the way to somewhere. So, building creative confidence. We had a little experiment out there. And this is part of it. So one of my favorite things is designing experiences where everything will become different. Everything will be a little bit random. So if I want a classroom or a workshop class to make something different, I design it, for example, with biometrics. Because then if we have 30 different students making something or people, there will be 30 different objects. So we can look at all of them and see what happens. And the interesting thing here is this builds your creative confidence because you can show that just by being you and coming in with your mindset, things can turn unique. That little thing of being you with your different experiences and things turns into something. Or just being you and having a weird shaped shoe can be enough. So that's what the little experiment we placed out there. I don't know how many actually cut out these feet today. We have some shoemerangs. This is one of the exercises I invented with it. We have some really interesting shapes going on. You see different shoe sizes. But just to prove that this is not a pre-organized, like this is not a fixed shoemerang. I'm going to make one piece live on stage. So if somebody has something to sing, by the way, does anybody have their birthday today? Not a single birthday person. What should we celebrate instead? We celebrate Friday. Yes, happy Friday. Oh shit, then I need to learn that backwards. That's my current brain exercise, is learning things backwards. That's something. It's fun to work with the double medium now that this is being documented. And this is probably incredibly interesting if you look at it from a video. Somebody's cutting cardboard. But the reason I'm using cardboard now is everything that I've been talking about is not about the system or our toys or our objects. It's about how you approach any object. This is a mindset more than a certain language or programming language that you need to learn. You need to just learn the skill of delving through and reading and writing these objects. So everybody saw this proof. Cut now. Cut out the wrong foot, according to my instructions, but obviously they are reversible. But the only thing that happens here is, because I know a little bit of aerodynamics, it's bent a little bit weird, this thing. So now you can follow my instructions. I'm going to add this thing to I'll replace one of the blades, because it's boring if we have to cut 3 of these. That's just, then we have dead air. So I copy this object. Did he get scared just then? They turn into creatures. Should we put him in the corner again? No. You see, it's very interesting how we can talk about empathy and learn about empathy by weird things like this. But I know my girlfriend, she thinks it's weird that who is here, that I always make tortured little animals. Like, oh, this is afraid. Why do you make all these afraid robots? But it's one of the easiest ways to evoke emotion, like something shaking. That's also something that we had a workshop in. Oh, now I went through my instructions that were supposed to go with you. So everybody who has a boomerang, or shumerang, take it up now. And what we need to do is, if you're right-handed, you take your left foot facing you, you bend up the toes, like thus, or thusly, which is a nice way of saying it, like this, I've heard. And then we fold down the trailing edge of what's going to become our blade. And I see that some of you haven't connected. There's a second hole. There was a really bad thing in the instructions before. The second hole here to organize the blades so they stick at this angle. You can fix that later, but it's also interesting to try without that. Just trying to secure it as good as you can. We're closing in on the end here. So this is creative confidence comes from doing these experiments, establishing the value that if it doesn't work, it's an interesting result. We draw conclusions from it. We learn more from something that doesn't work than from if everything works. So let's do this. Are you ready for an experiment? Yes. And this is what the final thing is. Once we get our creative confidence, we dare a little bit more. Okay? Are the cameras ready for something that's going to spin through the room? Should we all do it together? Should I show you first? This is interaction again. Okay, let's do that. So, to throw a boomerang, how many has done this before, actually? This is a separate workshop. You just got the first part. So with throwing a boomerang is trying to get your arm pretty straight, and the boomerang is supposed to come out like this, at this angle. You see, straight, with a spin. Okay, can we fix a drum roll? Of it failing completely and not hurting anyone, obviously, because it's lightweight, but now, with the risk of hurting everyone at the same time, if we just cover our eyes and throw, we don't know if it's going to work or not, but it's going to be fun. And if you have your boomerang in your hand afterwards, it worked. Now, we can do some samples. Should I just try one, or do you want to try, everybody? Just do a test. It's okay. Bend up the toes. As long as you bend them up really a lot, it's not going to go far or fast, because we add drag. Okay? This is scary, yeah? This is the zone we want to be in. And becoming confident a little bit in this scary zone. But, you know, because it's cardboard, obviously, if these would have been wooden, I wouldn't have thrown them in here. So the first step is like, what's the worst case scenario in case of failure? Okay? Anybody who wants to throw it, stand up. Yes, yes. And you don't have to throw it hard. First time, just to be very nice to each other. We just flick it out of the wrist. Like, I'll show it again, like this. Just very gently. And because the airfoils might be super weird, it's not necessarily going to work. Okay. Let's try it. 3, 2, 1, throw. Yay! Yeah, we have some tweaking to do. So we have a lot of information from these projects. So let's go. Those of you who want to make them fly can meet me outside. And we can go into it closer. So, very final words. I'd like to end with quoting Jay Silver again. Let's offer everyone the opportunity to learn the basic alphabet, vocabulary, and grammar of inventing. When we reach 95% invention literacy, like we have regular literacy, we won't be able to believe that in 2017, only special people, similar to the scribes of ancient Egypt, were engaged in reading and writing inventions. The result is that we will live closer to a world made by us all, and what a beautiful, diverse mosaic that will be. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Erik. So when I came on stage this morning, there was bananas scattered all over, and there was a pig shaking in the corner, and there were just cardboard everywhere. So just an average Friday, I guess.